Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, yesterday there was the announcement that we need to try and mop up as many of your 70 and overs for their COVID vaccinations. And so I just wanted to do a little extra piece. And we've got Matt and Fraser sat in the background taking any questions you want to put into the questions toolbar. And at the end, I'll show you where there's very much a summary of everything we're about to go through as well. Essentially, we're doing a campaign. And this is the same as any other big recall message you may have done before. The same 4 steps, we've just got different words in them. So, this front page, ideally you already know where you are here. Welcome to your front page of your system, where you need to communicate with your patients. In here, you do need to be in this campaign section. Look up to the top left. Now messages you send to small groups of patients, maybe 20 or 30 odd, but that's based off of your appointment book. And you're not going to be using your appointment book. You're going to be using a list from your clinical system, I best imagine. I could be wrong. Now, at this point, it's probably fair to guess that we're not going to have a template that fits the bill for quite the wording you're going to want to use. So, build a new message. Okay. You may have multiple different channels available for this. I'm going to focus on text. That way, it doesn't matter what kind of phone they've got. As long as it takes incoming text, they will get your message. And then we write in whatever it needs to be we want to tell them. So, of course, your wording will be whatever you want it to be. Dear title, last name, have you had your COVID-19 vaccination yet? I'd like to offer one. If not, call contact number to book yours today. So that's a one-way message. Get them to call you up if they haven't already, if they need your help. We can add more to this, of course. For instance, if you have already been vaccinated, reply done. We could even maybe get rid of this piece of where you ask them to call you, you could get them to text you back. And with that, you can build a list of those responses. To do that, I might even get rid of the phone number. So, dear whoever, have you had your vaccination? This is easier to read in the green section, admittedly. Practice would like to offer one. If not, if you've already been vaccinated, reply done. If not, reply book. So we'd have 2 different potential replies that we're asking for here. Things like done, we could probably code that straight off the bat. And book would be something you'd want to keep an eye out for going forward. But yeah, you build your message, whatever that wants to be. That could be anything. Continue. We need a list of patients. So you've got your list out of your clinical system of all your 70s and overs who have yet to be vaccinated. For System 1 people, we will require an NHS number in a list, in a spreadsheet. Let me see if I can find an example one to show you. And for our EMIS people, then patient IDs. Whichever kind you're after, tall and short of it is you end up with a spreadsheet, and the first column of it is either patient IDs or NHS numbers. After that, column B and onwards doesn't matter. That can be full of data, it could be completely blank, does not matter. So we've got our file. Put that somewhere nice and easy to find, because you will need to find it. I often just leave them on desktop. Open that, upload that. And I'm just going to hit start on that. Now, you're going to have more than 2 patients in your list, and this next page will break down how many you're going to be able to reach. So I've got 2 patients. Both of them are going to get a text. If I had any cannot sends, it'll tell me how many. And of course, these are patients it cannot reach. So you would probably want to look down the bottom and click this here. Export cannot send to CSV. That's going to give you a spreadsheet of all those patients MJog cannot reach. So if you're going to do any follow-up phone calls and such, that's your one to go with. Grab that and continue. Delivery options. When do you want this to go out? You're going to have a calendar and you pick dates. If it's a short list of patients, you might want to turn them out all on one day. If you're talking about many hundreds or thousands, you may want to hold control on the keyboard so you can pick more dates, and it will then split sending that message over those dates. The other options on this page, pay them no mind. You're just going to pick up as many dates as you want to send this across. Each patient only gets 1 copy, and continue. If you're not worried about any kind of coding off the back of this message, then don't worry about this next bit I'm going to go into. You can go straight into send messages. However, if you want coding, and off the back of, remember I put in there about them messaging back different keywords, I'm going to go in here. And once opened, oh, come on now. Not for that. Okay. In here, we can put different codes in for different situations. For instance, you may want to code to say they got this message. So you've done an invite of whatever it happens to be. These green crosses look like options, but at this point they are not. It'll only let you into this top piece here, which is put a code in your clinical system. So we'll do that and tell it which code we want that to be. So if I just, again, you may have much more intricate codes for this which fit the bill more specifically. I'm just going to use some generic ones. Text sent to patient, for instance. And then in comments, we can add anything else we want to add to that. You may even just take a cut and paste of the original text and put it in there. But there is only so much space in comments. So if you make it too long, you might find it gets cut off halfway through when it goes into the record. Add action. There. Patient gets message into phone. Code makes its way into clinical record. If not in the next 20 minutes or so, then probably overnight. The other side of it is, as we can see at the top here, we've got a copy of the wording in the message. And so I asked for 2 different kinds of responses, done or book. And again, I've got my green crosses. We use these ones. Don't use that one. Don't use that one. Use these ones. Green cross, do a code, tell it which code, any comments, add action. You know what? Let's put that in there. Now this will be very much a guess. Let's see. Text received from patient. Okay. And any comments. Again, if you're asking for any replies, add the relevant coding and comments to those replies. And that's probably about all you're going to need to do here. Let's continue from there on in. And that is it. That is the whole thing built to go. Send your message of your own wording to a list of patients you've pulled from the clinical system over 1 or more days. Do some coding off the back of it. And of course, we can send messages. We get a breakdown of how many we're looking to send over how many dates and what the message should look like. And in case there's any confusion over that, fill in these optional test message fields and send test message. That'll take a minute or so to get to you, as it just processes through various servers on its way. But then you can check in your hand if that is correct. Sometimes there'll be a typo that's staring at you in this piece here, but you just can't see it. Sometimes you'll just spot it in your phone. Once you've got that, and you're all happy that it's all good to go, we've got our send messages at the bottom. We can even, if you've queued this to go in a couple of days, for instance, you can also send yourself a copy as it goes to the patients. MJog will make sure you don't send the same message to the same person twice a day, though. So if you've done a test message, and you won't get another copy of it that day. But yes, fill it all in. Send yourself a copy. Make sure it's all good. When it's all good, send messages. Are you sure? Yes, I am. I'm going to start. And that's queuing it all up into the background. Okay. So even though I've said, even if I'd said to this, send now, send today, the settings I'd used mean there'll still be at least an hour's grace between you hitting send and it going anywhere, in case you need to do any changes or if there's anything that needs tweaking. Now, let's say that is the case. You need to change something, or you need to stop it, or you want to find out how many people messaged in done or bulk. Of course, your replies will turn up where all your other replies turn up. But we can do it better than that. So here, this is where we find anything we've done before. It's a campaign, of course, and my one's pinned to the top. You can filter it as a date, time created. There you are, that's my one right there. Now, if I click onto that, we are in the same place we were before. It's just that below the section we looked at just now, we have all of this. Okay. So how many are waiting to go, how many have sent, how many have got through, and how many replies we've had. Well, we want to see how many people have done our done and book. Head back into your coding. Once this has gone out and once replies start coming in, this green cross starts having extra functions. So we might find that we've got 33 dones have arrived and 12 books, for instance. This time go for the green cross. I can't pick it at the moment because I haven't got any data there, but this. Export the patient contact details to a CSV. That will give you a spreadsheet of all those patients who have responded with whichever key we're looking for. So we'd go for that, export. We'd have a list of all our people who need a booking. Done, export. We've got a list of all those who are done. Now, of course, you might not need to do that one. You've already coded it. But that's where you can get this information. So manage previous activities, find your campaign, and go back into the coding. If there is a drama and you need to stop this for whatever reason, even if it's just to change the wording, that's not a problem. Control panel, cancel this communication. Are you sure? Absolutely. And done. That's now stopped it. It's not going anywhere. We can go back in. We can change our wording around. We can change the dates and so forth. And when we're happy, once again, send messages. And the magic button just sits down here. Now, everything I've looked at here today is all covered in a YouTube playlist we put together. Let me just see if I can find the exact link for you. Which doesn't say specifically about this particular message, of course. It is a more generic guide, as it were. but it covers off each individual section of all those 4 pieces as you go through them one by one. So instead of it being like a 15-minute piece, it is a selection of shorts. Let me find it. View full playlist. Here are the campaign messages, how to. Absolutely, if you got yourself into YouTube, do please, sub to the account, of course. Drop a like if you like any of them. And we keep an eye on who's watching what to see if we need to bulk anything else out. But yes, in here, starting, adding your patients, when to send it, setting your read coding, sending your messages, and cancelling or copying them as well. So that's all in there. Do dive headlong into our account and channel, and you should be able to find all of that. And as you can see, when you get there, 2 minutes, 1 minute, most of them are a minute. The coding one's a bit longer, but we have to be a bit more delicate with that. Now, with that all said, that's as much as kind of needs to be said on how this is all done. Now, of course, if there's any questions, I'm just going to go diving in to see what we've got. Fraser, Matt, do we have anything coming through?
Not at the moment, Brendan. No, we have had a couple of questions which have already been answered, but I'll happily go over again. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Carol, for them. One of the questions was, what is there a limit to the amount of characters you can put into the coding notes? No, there isn't. So you can add the entire message if you want to, and that could be fed back into the clinical system along with the relevant code. Brendan, do you mind quickly showing that again, if that's okay?
I can certainly do that. That's news to me. I was always under the impression there was a character limit, but no, so much the better. Let me go find my one I just did. So previous communications, campaigns, there it is. So you're back into here and you're doing all your coding. Find something you want to code for. Let's do that one. Green cross. Write information back to your clinical system. Code of whatever code you like. Of course, you'll know codes way better than we do, and I am literally just taking the first one that falls to hand. And then, how many words can I fit in here? Oh, my typing gets worse by the day. Yep, as much as you want. As much as you want, you can add action. Yeah. So you could, theoretically, take the entire wording. We can copy and paste from the screen. Copy, copy, copy. I'll use the pencil. I'm going to edit this. Get rid of all that. Paste. There. So you can cut and paste. However, for this particular message, I'd say if you're going to do a cut and paste of your message wording, I did it in the wrong place. We want that in messages delivered.
That is wonderful. Thank you very much for that, Brendan. The other question we did get is, can we also send this via smart and email as well as text? That's from Carol, and the answer is yes, we can do that. But for this demonstration, Brendan was just showing us how to do this via the simplest method, which is SMS. But yes, you can send that via the other channels if you wanted to.
You absolutely can. Now, you know what? It's probably worth, Carol, if you're still there for this one, I'm going to just point you towards something which will make your life a little bit easier. Because smart messages are great for a whole number of different reasons, but actually making the messages for them so they don't just come through as black writing on white background can be a bit more of a bind and a chore. So, go and download yourself a template, because I believe in general, yes, smart templates, base template here, it's one way, information only, it's a one way. So essentially you download a template with an area where you add whatever text you want. And that way you're just not building it completely from the ground up. Okay? You don't have to do this, of course. If I Smart base template. Here I am. Change my message. And wherever it's got add text, then dear whoever, words, etc., etc., etc. Alternatively, yes, build it all from scratch, but we put these base ones in place just to help make things a little easier for when you're building those. Any more for any more?
That's all we have so far, but please do keep your questions coming in if you have any.
So, well, other than that, probably I didn't want to have to hold you up too long on this. Of course, you've all got various things which you all need to get achieved, and don't we know it? So we'll hold the line open for a couple of minutes. As questions come in, absolutely we'll pick them all up. But otherwise, if there's no more from yourselves, thank you very much. A copy of this will end up on, obviously, the YouTube channel. If not today, then maybe tomorrow. But in between now and then, of course, there is the main campaigns how-to up there for you to grab, and it covers off what we're doing here as well.